Hi, welcome. This is a video made by the Imaginative Education Research Group at Simon Fraser University in Canada. And today we want to discuss a project we're calling Learning in Depth. Now, this is a fairly easily described project. It's just that the implications are problematic. And to help me discuss it, I've got Don McLeod from the Faculty of Education at Simon Fraser, who works as a coordinator of our professional development program, and Tanis Calder, also a parent and a teacher, as Don is, and also a researcher in the Imaginative Education Research Group. To describe the topic is easy. That is, in the future, the proposal is that what will happen is that each child will be given a topic, and the topics might be things like dust, the railways, the circus, apples, the solar system. And they then will study that topic for the next 12 years of their schooling. They'll do the usual curriculum as well, but on the side they will have help in building a portfolio, so that by the end of schooling, each child in the future will become an expert on something. They'll know as much as almost anybody on earth about their particular topic by the time they leave school. So, Don, what do you think?
My daughter the other day made a comment which actually fits in with this idea that knowing a lot about something is actually very attractive. We were listening to some experts on the radio, and she commented that I would really love to know that much about something. So the idea of knowing a lot about one topic or one subject is an attractive idea.
Yeah, and I think one of the main things it does is change your relationship to knowledge. I think the way we run schools at the moment, most kids never really understand the nature of knowledge. And in some ways, they never learn how insecure our knowledge is. And it's only when you learn a great deal that you learn how little we actually know about almost anything. So one of the ironies of this is that you're actually teaching students to recognize how little they really understand about anything. And one of the values of that is that when you're older, when you've left school, it makes you less vulnerable to the kinds of superficial ways of thinking that are very common, so that you don't confuse your opinion with knowledge anymore, because you've really understood something about the nature of knowledge. Now, that's a sort of rather fancy way of putting it, but it's, I think, one of the great benefits of, potential benefits of this idea.
Well, as a parent, I can see a lot of wonderful things about this, and I get really excited about seeing my own kids get excited. I can picture them heading off to school, the beginning of their school, and being really excited about thinking, today I'm going to find out about what I'm going to become an expert in. And I think especially once, things get established, that'll be really exciting, that you'll come home and they'll be saying, Mom, Dad, guess what I got? Guess what I got? And I think that that's going to be a key part of, being excited about going to school, especially in the beginning years. I think there's this understanding, that kids go to school and they often think, I'm going to school to learn how to read. And if they know that they're going to school to find out that they're going to become experts in something, that's something else that they can become excited about. And I can see how if they were able to continue and work through all the grades as they were learning about things, how amazing it would be and how much information they would gather. My own son is particularly interested, and has been for many years, about ancient Greek mythology, and it's amazing to see how much he's sort of gathered along the way. But if you have a mentor in the school, so sort of supporting them along the way in doing that, I could see just amazing things happening, and I think it would be really, really, really exciting to see.
But there are going to be problems, presumably.
Yeah, there are.
And you've been a teacher. How do you see this starting? Grade 1. What does it look like?
Well, I think that as a teacher, my first question is, well, how do you do this? Yes, it's a wonderful idea, and I can see in doing it that there'd be incredible benefits. But the practicality of how do you actually get it happening in the school is a big, complicated question. And I think I would want to know, how to do that before beginning.
Right.
So.
Well, it becomes an interesting question for us. Do you provide, on the first day, as it were, with the kid, do you give each student a folder with information, things they can start with, or do you just give them the topic and give the teacher some guidance on, if the topic is apples, how do they help the student begin to start finding out? Now, the children can go home and talk to their parents and the guy across the hall and anybody they know to start gleaning information. But the teacher has to be the one to do something more systematic with this.
Yeah.
And the question is, what do they do and how do they do it? And you can imagine how you could provide information Saying go to the supermarket and seeing how many varieties of apples you can find there, and maybe buy one of each and see what they taste like and grade them according to your preference, and then find out what other varieties are around in your neighborhood, what other, So you could provide a whole series of suggestions like that, and maybe some principles for what's likely to engage kids' imaginations.
I'm a little concerned about the one topic, and the children might get bored with that after a certain amount of time.
I suspect the opposite. That is, boredom is a product of ignorance. What this is doing is undercutting ignorance. And my suspicion is that you'll find, well, the one place I know where there's something like this has been tried in a short term, the kids, much to the surprise of everybody, the randomly assigned topics became really engaging to the kids. But the other part of this is the sense of just throwing the topic at the kid. I mean, do you think that they should be given choice? A lot of people feel that, the random assignment is a problem. They should be allowed their own choice of topics.
It seems initially like it might be hit and miss. That some might really like their topic, some might not. Some might be jealous.
I mean, the Jane sitting next to Jim is a bit upset that Jim got the circus and she got dust, as it were, and she goes home crying that day.
Yeah.
Do you think that would happen, or do you think that that they should be given choice?
Well, I really wonder how much choice we give students when we teach them math or when we teach them social studies. We have our curriculum, we're going to do explorers. Anybody not want to do explorers? We don't really open that up to them. So I'm not so much concerned about the randomness, but about making it interesting.
Yeah, now I remember actually there was a study a number of years ago of countries that had multiple TV channels and countries that had one channel. And it was a study of kids watching a lot of TV. And they expected that the countries in which there were multiple channels, the kids would develop much wider interests. But they found exactly the opposite. I mean, quite strongly was the case. That the countries with only a single channel, the kids watched whatever was on. So they were exposed to quite a variety of different topics. And the countries in which there were multiple channels, the kids kept choosing the thing they were already interested in. So I tend to agree that and then also I think if you give the kids choice, if they for some reason find they are not attracted by the topic a while later, they have only themselves to blame, and that's not a good principle. Whereas this, if you create a ceremony and make it a big deal, as Tanis was saying earlier, this sense that going to school on the first day and finding out what your topic is can become, quite an attractive part of what schooling becomes.
And that's a key, the way it is presented initially, that this is important.
Indeed.
And you're going to really gain something. And here's a real exciting topic that you're going to learn a lot about.
Right, and it will transform the school.
It'll transform the school.
Well, I'm really excited about the project, and I think the key is that I'd really like to see it happening in schools.
Well, it will happen, I guess, if enough people are interested. We have some pilot projects coming up, and if anybody else is interested in putting this into practice, some teachers, administrators, well, just please get in touch with us and look at our website.